Good morning, grade 4. So today we are going to talk about lesson 3, how is weather predicted? Before we move on, let us review your past lesson about weather. So weather is the day-to-day condition of the atmosphere. Now let's take a look how is weather predicted. Tracking the weather. So how do we know the weather? So a meteorologist is a scientist who studies weather. So when we say meteorologist, it is a scientist who specifically studies about weather. Weather, which is again the condition of the Earth's atmosphere. So what do meteorologists do? They collect data from all over the world using automated systems at sea, on land, in air, and in space. So again, what do meteorologists do? They collect data from all over the world. So now, what do they use in order to collect those data? They use the following: weather buoys. In some countries like America, they pronounce it as buoys. So it can be pronounced as weather buoys or weather buoys. Okay? And then weather monitoring stations, weather balloons, and weather satellites. So those are the instruments that they use in order to gather or to collect data from all over the world about the weather. Okay? Let's talk about the weather buoys or weather buoys. What does it do? It collects data about air temperature, air pressure, wind, and waves at sea. So most of it or all of it are elements of weather. Okay. So temperature, which is the measure of how hot or how cold something is. Air pressure, which is the force exerted by the air or by the uh, air particles or by the air itself. Wind, which is the moving air, and waves. Of course, waves are created by it is a disturbance caused by any force that acts on the water. Okay. Next one is the weather monitoring stations. What do these monitoring stations do? They collect data on air temperature, air pressure, wind, humidity, and precipitation. So just a review, when we say humidity, what do we mean by that? Okay, so it is the amount of water vapor in the air. So the more water vapor you have in the air, the higher your humidity is. Wind again is moving air or air in motion. Precipitation is in any form. It can be in the form of rain, it can be in the form of snow, it can be in the form of hail or sleet. Okay, so what is the difference between hail and sleet? Hail is bigger, sleet is smaller, and then hail is most commonly occurring or happening during summer, and sleet most commonly occurs during winter. Okay, so those are the types of precipitation. Some use radar to track severe storms. So again, the instrument that you use to collect data about those are weather monitoring stations. Next is weather balloons. Weather balloons, from the word uh, weather and balloons. So of course, it uses a balloon in order to uh, gather or to collect data about the weather. So what does this balloon do? It carries tools called radiosondes. Radiosondes are instruments that collect information and then transmit this information to the ground using the radio transmission. A typical radiosonde measures air temperature, air pressure, and humidity. So next is weather satellites. Weather satellites orbit Earth and can track the weather over very large areas. They collect weather data such as cloud cover and track storms such as hurricanes. So, again, going back to your lesson before, you learned that when we say satellite, it is something that moves around another object that is bigger than itself. So our natural satellite is the moon. The moon is smaller than the Earth and it moves around the Earth. That's why it's called a natural satellite. However, this weather satellite is, of course, it is an artificial one or a man-made satellite which is moving around the Earth or orbiting around the Earth. That's why it's called a satellite. And this one specifically is a weather satellite. There are other types of satellite like the ones used in GPS. Those are also satellites, but this one is a satellite specifically for gathering and collecting information about the weather. Okay, so they collect weather data such as cloud cover and track storms such as hurricanes. Let's move on to air masses and fronts. What is an air mass? An air mass is a large body of air with the same temperature and humidity throughout. Okay, so from the two words air and mass. Air, of course, you know already air or the atmosphere, and then mass. Mass is the amount of matter or amount of material in an object. So air mass is a large body of air with the same temperature and humidity or the amount of water vapor all throughout. An air mass reflects the condition of the place where it forms. Air masses that form over land are dry. Remember, air masses that form over the land are dry. Air masses that form over the water, on the other hand, are moist. Okay, so again, if it is on the land, air masses that form there are dry. And if it is over the water, then the air masses that form there are moist. Okay? Cold, dry air masses form near the poles and warm, moist air masses form near the tropics. Okay, remember, near the poles, there are cold, dry air masses. Okay, and near the tropics, we have moist air masses. Okay, as air masses move across an area, they can collide. When you say they can collide, they can like hit each other, bump into each other. A front is the boundary between two air masses. Okay, so you have one air mass and another air mass, and the boundary between them is what you call the front. Okay, or a front. Weather changes take place at fronts. At a front, stormy conditions are common. For example, as a warm front moves across an area, warm air replaces cooler air and the temperature rises. Okay, we are going to see that a little bit later. Okay, so now let us go to a cold front. A cold front forms where a cold air, okay, if you can see, okay, this is the cold air. That's the direction. Where is it going? The cold air. So the cold air pushes the warm air up. So as what